That's Smooth Sailing, based off of a Queens of the Stone Age song called Smooth Sailing.
Oh, and then you also had your Macarena one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my michelada.
Right.
Macarena michelada. Actually, that's brilliant. On this week's episode, we discuss dry January, non-alcoholic beers, and hop water. We also get into what we're planning on brewing for this year to share on the show. This is the Malting Hour.
What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast, that's beast. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
Welcome to the Malting Hour. It is the year 2021. It is the future. We have survived 2020 barely. And we are here back with a brand new year, with new shows, looking at each other via Zoom because what we normally use, well, my computer didn't like it. I am one of the hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And sometimes we're joined with
Clark Fettridge.
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So here we are, January 2021. We drank a lot of beers last year. We had a lot of fun last year. We drank plenty of pumpkin beers last year. And two of the three of us are currently doing a full-on dry January, those two being Brandon and myself. I think last year, we only did one full episode, maybe two episodes where we actually had beers. We took a break from the dry January. I think it was the North Carolina beers, and then was that when we drank the old stock?
Yeah.
Oh, bad news. Yeah,
Good
we
news.
took
It ended
no
up being
good
my
news.
favorite beer of the year.
Yeah, but it was a hardcore break from dry January
Oh, yeah.
because we drank, I think, a prop, Lagunitas, and that old stock.
Yeah, so talking about the dry January thing. So I know for me, officially, my intention is to end on February 4th.
Good for you.
Because that is the Hop Slam event.
Oh, right.
Hop Slam Mania, what's it called?
Yeah, Hop Slam Mania or whatever. But what a great way to break in, or end your dry January. And the other reason, too, was the 4th is a month out from when I started. So technically I started January 4th. So
Smart. Same here. Yeah,
So-
I wasn't going to start right before, like, during a 4-day weekend.
No.
Although I didn't really drink on New Year's Day. I had one beer the Saturday after, and then on the 3rd, with a bunch of football, I went hardcore. I didn't go too hardcore, but the last beer that I drank was Cafe Death from Revolution. So that's how I ended my drinking for 2020.
Well, good for you guys. I'm not doing a full dry January. I'm doing what I'm calling dry-ish January, where I'm trying to stick to 2 days a week where I can have a beer or multiple beers.
But since you can't find your water now, you got to just go grab a beer.
Yeah, I probably will.
You might as well just grab a beer right now while we're talking about this.
Yeah, well, and after the onslaught of November and December of me drinking at least one beer mostly every day of the week, I think it was time to take it slow. So.
Yeah, I'm on the fence of whether or not because last year, I think January ended. Well, I don't remember, but I remember like starting it like 2 days or like ending it 2 days early because it was the weekend, and I started it with VSOD, and I don't know. I'm on the fence whether or not I'm going to wait until February 4th or just that weekend before, since it's so close. Just kind of go with it because I don't want to have my first beer on a Wednesday. I think in the middle or Tuesday, in the middle of the week. February 1st.
Oh, first
Yeah.
is a Monday.
Monday, yeah. I don't want my first beer to be on a Monday. However, that following weekend is my birthday, and I was smart, and the Super Bowl, and I was smart enough this year to take that Monday off, as I would normally do. But I did not do it last year, and somehow, for the first time in a very long time, woke up feeling like crap. Clark, do you remember that one time I came into work and I felt like crap because I went to a lake effect thing?
I do remember that.
And yeah, I had just stopped smoking cigarettes, and I had like 2 cigarettes that night and drank all these beers, and I felt awful. That was probably one of the worst hangovers I ever had, but I showed up and I worked, didn't I?
You sure did. You were there.
Thanks.
Worked in quotes.
I was there. I was
You were
definitely
there.
there. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so Brandon and I kind of embraced the whole dry January thing. I also decided to do it because, and Brandon, you had mentioned this as well. When I started last year, I was eating a bit better, even when pandemic hit and we had to lock down and everything and shelter in place. And I still have to go into work. But I was still focused on eating better. And then as the summer went on and we got into the colder months, all bets were off, and I just kind of threw caution to the wind and just let myself go, so to speak. So I figured this was a good way to jumpstart. Where a lot of people do this. I'm not calling it fully a New Year's resolution as much as it's just a good way to kickstart the year and adjust myself, maybe dropping some lbs and giving the liver a rest.
It's a good idea. I will say, for all you listeners out there who didn't know, I was lucky enough to contract the virus just after Christmas. So I had a early start to my dry January. I didn't drink for a good week, and I will say it did feel pretty good. Less bloaty and just more aware.
There you go,
everything.
kids. Go ahead.
So-
Go ahead and get that COVID. It feels good.
Did you ever? You know what? So I never asked to confirm if you what your test result was, and I always assumed it was. I assumed it was negative because I figured you would have said something if it was.
Yeah, it was at first. If we're gonna change over to the virus hour for a little bit here, quick background. Long story short, I saw my brother on December 20th. Saw him, fine, great. Okay, 2 days later, he texts me in the evening saying, he said, Corona test back. And it was positive. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Huh? What? And then it slowly all started creeping into me like, oh crap, he has COVID. And then a minute later it was, oh crap, I was just with him 2 days ago. Oh crap, we can't do any of our plans that we had with, my dad for Christmas or him and my other side of the family who we were going to see a little bit of. So it was all hunker down and stay with the rest of my family, the two boys and my wife, and we did that. We all felt fine. I started feeling a little sick on the 23rd, just kind of like a little cold. We all got tested on the 26th. Results came back on the 28th. I was negative on the 28th. My 4-year-old son, though, was positive. Luckily, we're all okay. So anyway, fast forwarding, he was positive. So we're like, well, I'm still feeling a little sick. I'm going to go get tested again. Got tested on the 30th. That test came back positive. So we've all been home since then. My other son also tested positive, but my wife has somehow skirted COVID. While the rest
If
of her
anyone's
family
going to skirt it, I'm not surprised that she's the one that didn't get it.
Have you guys have you been isolating away from her or just
no? Because at that point,
like,
we'd been together for a week plus with positive results. So it's like, if she's going to get it,
you're
she's
here,
gonna get
woman.
it.
You're going to get it if you're going to get it. So
Yeah, I guess I am really lucky that it didn't get serious. I will say it was just incredibly annoying because, as I said, I started feeling sick on the 23rd, like a normal head cold, sinus stuff. But it's been, that was 2.5 weeks ago. And I'm just now starting to feel better. I did lose all my taste and smell, which is really annoying. Again, it doesn't hurt or anything, but, there was no reason to drink. I wasn't going to pop and open any beers because I couldn't taste them. And I had planned, of course, on drinking like a prop and some other good barrel-aged stuff over New Year's, like watching football. Didn't do it. So
Hey, man,
anyway.
it was a reason to save all that beer. That's good. It
Yeah,
worked
no,
out
I got
for you.
plenty of beers ready to guzzle.
I just thought of something. If my dad was to get COVID and his symptom would be the loss of taste or smell, he wouldn't know because he already can't taste or smell. So
Oh, wow.
it's like
So he may have it.
I just imagine them going to the doctor and be like, "Have you lost your sense of smell or taste?" It's like, yeah, like 45 years ago or
Yeah,
something
right?
like that. 40 years ago.
Jeez
Yeah.
Louise.
Yeah, actually, Clark, you had broke the news to us about hour before we were going to do the Maltese episode.
Yes, and that's why I wasn't able to make the show.
Yeah, which, that makes sense. Priorities.
Oh, wait,
but
you
it
did tell us. That's right. I was like,
Well, no, at that point I wasn't positive though. It was just
Yeah, he
it was
just
just
got
we had
tested.
been with my brother, and then of course I did get tested, and the first test was negative. So,
yeah, that's right.
I'm lucky I went back, or else I would have just walked into work like, "Hey, everybody, how you doing?" And
Would you
I do that every
Right.
the way you greet everybody. Hey, everybody, how you
how you
doing?
doing?
It's me, Clark.
Here's a virus for you. So anyway,
Oh. Well, we're glad that you guys are okay and nothing
Yes.
serious came about. How's your brother? Is your brother okay?
he's fine. Yeah, kind of the same deal.
Okay.
Lost taste, smell, and just felt like a bad cold. So
Yeah,
good.
that whole situation, which is funny because you and I had actually planned to hang out the day before that.
that's right.
I was gonna come by and we said, oh, we've seen each other, let's hang out and have a couple beers, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna shrink this bubble and just focus on being at home with the way the numbers have been. And ironically enough, obviously I wouldn't have come in contact with him, although if I was there, he probably would have showed up because he likes seeing me.
Oh, well,
you know what I
knowing
mean?
him, yeah, exactly.
Popped up and be like, hey, Tone, knew you were going to be here. Sensed it.
Okay.
But yeah, so just a good reminder of why we're still doing this show remotely, because Clark carries diseases.
But I'm free now. I can go wherever I want. I got the
Yeah,
antibodies,
that's it.
So
Yeah,
hey.
yeah, perfect. Hey, you want to hang out?
Yeah, let's do it.
No, we're not.
Well, I can
doing
probably still. I don't know. We'll get into that later.
All right. Anyway, so now that we got all the pleasantries out of the way, this we're gonna use this episode. Well, number one, Brandon and I have a couple of non-alcoholic drinks that we are drinking that both of us can kind of speak on. I got something cool for Christmas that if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen I have used it a number of times already, even with Dry January underway. And Brandon and I had discussed that maybe it might be a good idea to discuss what we are planning on brewing this year. Mainly because with the success that we've had with some of the beers that we've brewed together, we thought that it would be a lot more fun to last year we focused a lot on breweries and specific beers or specific styles, that maybe we jump back a bit more into the home brewing aspect of what we wanted to bring into this show. But first, Brandon, what are you drinking right now?
Currently, I'm actually drinking hop water, and it is hoppy and refreshing.
From Lagunitas.
Yeah, from Lagunitas. So this one, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have had hop water. If you haven't, it's actually a really refreshing drink. And I found this, I think I heard about it like a year and a half ago, and I think I first bought it, early last year because I was like, I'm curious to see what it tastes like. And it was awesome. So I bought a couple, I think on like the Sunday or Monday this week. I went and bought a couple of 4-packs of it just to have on hand. Oh, I bought it Saturday because I bought it like when I was going to stop by your house. So, no, Sunday, sorry, to drop off that beer. So, yeah, and I know you've had this too. So, the only thing I can really say if I'm going to give a review about it is it's like slightly lemony. You do get that hop profile in there. There's in the list of ingredients, it's natural brewers or nutritional brewers yeast, but I don't get much yeastiness from it. Maybe a little bit. It tastes literally more like carbonated water that's got some hops and a slight bit of lemon in it. So, and then again for Lagunitas, that could just be coming from the hops that they're using too. So, yeah,
I don't know the science behind the yeast that's in there. I'm too lazy to even look it up. But yeah, you and I were talking about this last night via text that there's other hop waters that use it as well. But I'm not sure why. I'm sure there's a good reason, as it being a brewery. I also I've had that before. I've had it a few times. I had it last year during Dry January. It's the first time I tried it, and I really liked it. And buying it again, I bought it a couple more times during the year, and then I've had a 4-pack of it recently, and I've got one bottle left. I really like it, and decided that I wanted to make my own. And I actually did that yesterday, which turned out to be a very easy process. I followed a video I found from Claw Hammer Supply doing a 1-gallon batch, and it was super easy, and it's really good. The only thing that I would change from mine is, I think I told both of you guys this, is use a lower alpha acid hop than Centennial, or at least the amount that I used in it. It was a bit more bitter than the Lagunitas hop water, but still really refreshing. I used some. It's basically just 1 gallon of water with 2 grams of Centennial hops and a little splash of concentrated lemon juice to lower the pH. And that's it. That's all it is. And I put it in a 1 gallon keg. Carbonate after I chilled it. Put it in took the 1 gallon keg, hit it with some CO2, shook it up, and bada bing, bada boom. I've got carbonated hop water. I liked it so much that I'm going to do a 5-gallon batch, and I will be happy to drop some off to both you guys. Yeah, it's super easy to do, and I was very pleased with the results. And while we do the show, I am going to have one of those. But real quick, before that, I'm also drinking a Lagunitas drink. You guys can now see this in the video, as it does look like beer, doesn't it? Look at that. Does. The Lagunitas IPNA. Brandon, I know you got a bottle of that as well. It, in all honesty, it is very similar, in my opinion. And Brandon, maybe you'll have a better review of this. In my opinion, it just kind of tastes like their hop water. The only difference being that there's less than 0.5% alcohol. It's brown, and there's 80 calories in it. So,
what if no?
Yeah, and I got 6 for $10 instead of 4 of the water. Brandon, did you just lick the bottle?
It was dripping, so I was like, no.
This is why we don't do video all the time. Yeah, it. In my opinion, I would much rather just buy the hop water or make my own hop water.
And you said it tastes similar, you think?
Mm-hmm. It tastes worse.
To me,
well, because I'm reading about the hop water, and I mean it's 0 carbohydrates, 0 calories, so that's interesting, and 0 alcohol.
Yeah,
and you like that almost more than the quote unquote beer that they.
I 100% like it more than the IPNA.
Interesting.
At least that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see I had forwarded you a Benny's email earlier this week, but it had. Not only did it have some Three Floyds, I think it was they were promoting that they're going to be selling Blot Out the Sun.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Which I'm going to get. But the non-alcoholic beers, they had a list of all their NA beers there because they had Dry January. Here's all the NA stuff they had, and like Heineken, and there were some interesting ones that were on that list. And my thought originally was like, oh man, it'd be great to try some of those. And then trying this, I'm like, nah, man, I'll stick to hop water. This is to me. This is not worth the 80 calories, man. It's like
That's right. That's exactly what when the first I was expecting a different flavor. Like the flavor to me tastes exactly like their hop water. So why would I want to just drink 80? Honestly, if I wanted to break dry January and get 80 calories. I'll take a 1.05 ounce, 1.05. Boy, this 0.5 alcohol is really starting to get to me, guys. I just assume
after a week of not drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, ugh, wasted. I don't know. I'd eat a piece of candy or something instead of drinking this. The hop water quenches what I'm looking for in the beverage anyway.
And ironically, so the aroma on this is I smell hops. It smells literally like if I was holding hops in my hand. Versus the hop water, it smells like hops, but more of a citrus. You get more citrus. Again, that could be lemon or whatever. Because I've read online that there was that they add citrus to it. I know Tony, when he did his, he added a squirt of fresh lemon in there to bring down the pH. And again, Lagunitas might just adjust their water accordingly, or just have better water that they don't need to do that, but. It's so much more pleasant, the hop water, the aroma. Ugh. I don't know necessarily if I'll get through this or want to get through it.
I got through it. I
want to save the calories.
Ooh, smart. It's fine and all. It's not terrible if you can't find the hop water and that's sitting around.
Yeah,
I'd say get that. I actually just poured off another glass of my hop water to kind of go off of what we just tried.
Must be nice getting all these aromas. That's something that I just, can't do right now. So way to rub it in.
Hey, why don't you go enjoy your alcohol?
Yeah, that's kind of, well, I will say I've been trying to smell things to get the smell coming back. It's a little bit, I'd say I'm about 40% smell, 50% taste right now. I pick up a bottle of Maker's Mark. I'm like, all right, let me get this. It's a strong scent. And then I smell it. It just tastes like, it smells like rubbing alcohol. It's really weird. It's like all I'm
Oh
getting.
God.
But anyway,
That
back
sounds
to
awful.
the non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah. The hop water that I made drinking this now after having that IPNA, I taste more of the lemon. Like there's definitely way less hops in this because that IPNA is very hoppy. But still, I just assume have this. It was easy enough to make. I'm gonna make, like I said, I'm gonna make a 5-gallon batch of this. It's something so easy to make and just to have. Like I think it took me because also for Christmas I got a electric brew kit. I got the mash and boil, which I've been using a lot. 3 times. That's a lot though since I got it on Christmas. I think it took me maybe a total of an hour to make this, to get it into like from starting with putting the water in there, like filtering my water, and then getting it into the keg and into my refrigerator, probably an hour total. And I, depending on, temperature outside, because I'm still doing the electric outside, except now I'm doing it right outside my basement door. To make 5 gallons, I'm probably take about an hour, hour and a half, and just to have something refreshing and hoppy on tap regularly, other than just carbonated water. That's and again, I've got a bunch of hops in my freezer too. So there's they say to use in the video it said use 2 grams per gallon. So what you're looking at 10 grams of hops. That's almost what, a quarter of an ounce of hops, maybe. I mean, a little bit less than that. So yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely recommend using a lower alpha acid to kind of bring down that bitterness. In the video they use lemon drop. I didn't have lemon drop. I wasn't going to run to the store. I just wanted to give it a test for the 1 gallon. I used Centennial. So overall I like this little experiment and look forward to making more.
I was reading some reviews or not reviews, but some forums last night where people were talking about making this, and somebody had suggested using a hop shot.
Oh yeah,
or a portion of one. I think like a whole one might be too much, but
yes.
And then the other one I was reading, like the guy who had done it had done a full hour boil, and like did a 15-minute edition and then a flame out edition. And he said it was just like super, super hoppy. It was like way too hoppy. So he cut his hops in half. He put an ounce of hops in there in five. And then so he cut that in half for his next batch. And he said that wasn't hop. He said it tasted good, but like it wasn't as hoppy as the other one. But I guess that's kind of the point, because you said it was too hoppy. And he's like, this is good, but it's not as hoppy. So it's like weird. But I guess he let it sit for like 4 weeks, and then he tried some of it, and he's like, oh, it mellowed out, really well. And it's like, yeah, that's what hops do after you let them sit for that long. Like, come on. But an hour boil just seems completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if he was adding the hops at boil, then sure. But I don't know. I don't know enough about the actual. I mean, for me, doing it one time and doing very minimal research, I don't know enough of the science behind why you would do that, or not necessarily the science, but the why go through that process if it's not necessary. I mean, this is just basically doing a hop stand the way I did it. Yeah. It's like whirlpool hops. And again, having the electric brewing setup now was awesome, because you have to let it sit at 170 degrees for a half hour. And I was able to just set it and come back to it. And that was it.
That's cool.
And I filtered the hell out of it with 2 strainers and a grain bag.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of hop particles in there.
Oh, I'm sure.
But, I mean, and you guys, I just know you guys saw my post. It looks like lemonade.
It does.
Like the video doesn't really show that color that much, that well. But it's like, lemony. And this would, come summertime, hop water I would assume might even make a good mixer of some sort. Maybe a little vodka or something. Put that over ice, and totally defeat the purpose of why I make hop water.
Right.
Well, it's better than using like soda or like tonic water that stuff that has calories in it. So if you're looking to cut corners or carbs,
Yeah, for summertime, sounds good to me.
One of you guys want to throw it to a break?
Let's
we're gonna throw it
go
to
to
a
break.
Perfect. We'll be right back. Oh, now I get it. We're back.
Oh, now we're back.
Oh, now we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to the first episode of many episodes. I don't even know what episode this is now. We're getting closer to 50, though. We will hit our 50th episode this year. How do you guys feel about that, huh?
Seems like
Great.
a distant dream that's finally coming to be a reality. It's surprising. I'm actually shocked that we've gotten through 50. Like, that's a pretty significant...
We haven't yet.
I mean, we're like on track to get to that really soon. Even like we're in the 40s now, so that's actually we've been pretty consistent. So kudos to us, man.
Yeah, high fives all around, guys.
It's been a dream of mine since I joined the show to reach 50.
We'll have to go back and find out how many episodes you've actually been on, whether it be guest or
I'd guess 12 at this
host.
point, 12-ish.
Probably.
It's a good.
Sounds like a safe
guess.
number.
I like that.
He's keeping tally. Have you ever asked
So
to ask for
let's-
royalty checks?
Well, that's
There's
kinda-
royalty checks involved?
Oops,
for
sorry.
me. Yeah, I mean,
Just for Clark.
I mean, no.
Is it just this feels like the Miller High Life Wi-Fi glasses all over again. I'm being left out. Anyway, so back to the show. We're going to be talking about some of the home brewing stuff we're planning on doing this year. And before we get into that, I actually already started doing something. Brandon, you and I did our 5-gallon batch of the Cinnamon Bun Imperial Sweet Stout, right? We can call it a sweet stout. It's pretty sweet, which we plan on the three of us at some point, well, February, most likely. All three of us drinking that together on the show. Separate, but still drinking together. I decided that I wanted to do a test batch. I did a 1-gallon batch of it. And I did a couple things different. I'm not adding cinnamon to this one. This is mainly a lot of the mainly just the base. And mainly just the base. It's just the base for the boil.
And no cinnamon rolls.
And no cinnamon rolls, correct. But I do currently have, for our batch, we used Madagascar vanilla beans that you made a tincture of. I have Tahitian vanilla beans that I have a current tincture of in bourbon instead of vodka. And I also have some toasted oak chips sitting in some bourbon as well. So in about, I have it marked on my calendar, I think a week or two, I'm going to put those toasted oak chips in a hot bag and add it to the fermenter,
Nice.
which I just checked. I sent you a picture yesterday. It's still kind of bubbling, so there's still a little bit of action going on in this big beer here. Once that sits for about a week, I am then going to take the vanilla tincture, the bourbon, add that to my 1-gallon keg. I'm also going to take the bourbon that the oak chips were sitting in, because I forgot to add a little bit of the lactose to the boil. I'm going to take the bourbon from the wood chips to hydrate that lactose, add that to the keg, and then rack the beer on top of all that and let that get carbonated. And I'm assuming I'll have some for you guys to try. There's no promises on this one because I am tapping it for my birthday.
Ooh.
And it's only a gallon, so.
Yeah, I mean, but that's still. I mean, it's still a 9% beer. I doubt I'm going to go all the way through that. But I'll pour you guys a bottle each before I
A sip is a sip.
Through. Indeed. But what we wanted to discuss was so that's the first thing that I had going on technically, I guess, for this year. But I did put together a list of some beer ideas that I have for this year, and I know you guys have some stuff that you wanted to brew as well. Did either one of you want to start with maybe some ideas of what you want to brew? Because I do want to focus on some of these for the show, whether it be the actual brew day itself, but I think it'd be a lot more fun if we had a couple beers that we, like we did for the pumpkin beer episode, brew a beer or two and, do a brew day around the same time and then be able to share those beers together on a different show.
Yeah, I guess I'll begin. I don't have any grand plans. I mean, I will say after, I think the last 2 or 3 years, I sort of went off the rails a little bit as far as what I tried to do for my home brews.
What do you mean off the rails?
Well, I guess off the rail. Well, and not so much last year, but when I first started, I think we've talked about this before. I wanted to do too much, I think, with what I made.
Oh, right.
It's like, well, let me try this pumpkin with all these extra things in there that probably don't need to be there. I mean, my pumpkin was good, but I've, as we all discussed,
it was voted the best. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best, but I don't want any more pumpkin for a long time. I just dumped the last gallon I had. I will probably take a year or two off of pumpkin beers, to be honest.
Same here. After last year. I'm not looking to do it again.
I think I'm going back this year, especially for various reasons, to some of my old time favorites. Some of the ones that I first did when I began all grain brewing, specifically my Fudgy Dust, which is a Zombie Dust clone.
Ooh.
My son nicknamed Fudgy. So I think I made that for his first birthday, which will be 6 years ago in June.
I did come by and have some, actually.
Yeah, you had some, and then my named after my second son, another pale ale. It's more of an IPA / pale ale. Can't really say. It's called Nick the Dick IPA. That's another solid one I've done, and I think probably I'll probably.
You can't hold on. You can't just skirt the fact that you have two beers named after your kids, but the first one, Fudgy Dust, is nice.
Okay, yeah,
and then the second one is Nick the Dick. Is it because he got Corona as well? You saw it in the future?
Well, he was the first to get Corona, so he's kind of a dick for doing that. But no, if you go to Untapped and search Nick the Dick by Clarkowski Brewhouse, you'll see the picture of the beer, and it's him probably as a 2-month-old, like screaming his head off. He was allowed. Right. He was a loud baby, so he was kind of a dick, So for his first birthday, I brewed this, and it's been a favorite. I haven't made it probably in last check-in I had was 2017, so it's been a number of years.
Cool.
So we'll go there, and I'll probably do a bunch of. I've made a nice Pilsner. Roger Predactor Pilsner has been a favorite. My problem is I need to brew. It's not a problem, but I need to brew things that the common beer drinker will drink. If I'm doing juicies, I don't have a lot of friends besides the two of you that would probably appreciate it. So I need to brew things that are kind of toned down that other people will actually drink, or else it'll just sit there in my fridge forever. So I think I'm going to stick to the IPA, pale ale, Pilsner, and maybe my blonde this year, and kind of just go run of the mill stuff. To be honest.
Yeah, I like that plan. I'm kind of for the most part I'm sticking to the same formula. I forgot. I also did do another beer that Brandon you got to try already. I've been doing those smash beers that you have, Brandon. You have named Legally Blonde, and the first one. What was the first hops that I used? Was that Cascade? And then the second one being that I just did was El Dorado, and I got to try a little bit of that last Sunday before starting Dry January, and I really like the way that those are turning out, and I'm surprised for how long that I have been brewing, which coming this year I've been brewing for 9 years in November, so it'll be 9 years of brewing. That this is the first time I've done smash beers, which is single malt and single hop. I just use standard Breeze 2-row pale malt, and then a hop. And the last one was El Dorado. So I was thinking about this year, I wanted to do a couple more of those, specifically Citra, Simcoe, and Amarillo. I like all those hops a lot. I kind of have not a long list, but I think it kind of follows what I normally do. I do want to do another lager, I should say. Last year, I did a lager around this time to be ready for the Super Bowl because I was watching it next door with Jeff and aptly named it Shut Up Jeff. So I'm going to make Shut Up Jeff version 2, which I want to make a light lager. As I said last year, I was a little hungover after the Super Bowl, so I wanted to make something a little lighter so I don't feel that way. I would like to perfect my New England IPA Run the Juice. I feel like I did, since I've done about, I think 5 different versions of it now, and I think I know exactly what I'm looking for and how to obtain that. I don't think I'll be doing that in my electric mash and boil just because of all the hop particles, unless I have some type of hop bag for that, because I've got the pump version, and I don't want all those hop particles clogging up the pump. I don't really want to take it apart. A couple other things I wanted to do. I do want to do a couple more sours this year. I really liked my my tart cherry kettle sour that I did last year that came in at like 2% ABV, which was really tasty. But I'd like to do one that's, a little more up there. I also want to do a Goza this year. I wanted to do one last year, and I'm going to do that with some lime juice and some sea salt. The last time I named a beer after a song, it was Smooth Sailing, our grapefruit. Was that an IPA? I'm looking there, no, a grapefruit pale ale. I called it Smooth Sailing, based off of a Queens of the Stone Age song called Smooth Sailing.
Oh, so then you also had your Macarena one.
Yeah, that's my michelada.
Right.
Macarena michelada. Actually, that's brilliant. I'm calling this one I Sat by the Ocean because I figured a little lime and salt. I'm going to do that. And then later in the year, I for sure want to do a brown ale that I wanted to kind of mirror a oatmeal, maybe like raisin cookie type deal, almost like a winter warmer, without adding, trying to get those flavors without adding too much adjuncts. And that's pretty easy to do with some toasted oats. Use some Special B. That'll give me the raisiny flavor, which, Clark, Special B was one of the things you added to your pumpkin beer, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you use more of that, you get more of a raisiny character. So I thought that would kind of be fun. And I'm going to make that in honor of my grandmother, so that when my mom finally can come up to Chicago, she can drink some of my beers and have good reason to be like, drink this, Mom. It's for your mom.
Yeah, honestly, talking about all this homebrew, it's nice to think, we can all actually share this more. It'll be easier to share this, and we can hopefully in a few months sit around and drink a lot of it. It'll be easier.
And not feel bad about making
me.
5 gallons every time.
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
Like, I've got all this beer sitting here, and I'll drink some of it, but now we can finally get rid of it a bit easier. Thank God.
Well, I'm especially with warmer weather. If we lived in a place where the weather was warm, like say we lived in California, I mean, the three of us could still get together, sit across some long tables, and not, and be able to record with each other, But unfortunately, it's 29 degrees here in Chicago today, and it is not worth sitting around because we all live close to O'Hare. Ooh, I gave away our locations. Oh no!
Yeah, in the flight path, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially Brandon. You are way more in the flight path than either one of us.
Yep. Yeah, I mean you're further west, but I'm like directly under it. And I was like, even in my condo too. Like people are always like, "Aren't you bothered by the flight path?" And I'm like, "Dude, no." Like at this point I'm used to it, but it is not conducive for good audio. So
yeah, not outside audio, not at all. Brandon, what do you got on planned for this year?
So I actually made some changes of what I thought I wanted to do last night. So I ended up buying that 1 gallon keg because I'm like, what?
Yes!
This changes what I kind of want to do. So I haven't done this one in a while, so I want to go back and do the wedding beer, the Shaggy Tail Pale Ale.
Awesome.
I don't think Clark ever had a chance to try that. I'm not.
No.
I don't think so. So I think I wanna definitely give that one a shot. I'm planning, hopefully in like the first couple of weeks of February, I want to try to do a dry Irish stout to have something for St. Patrick's Day, since likely
That would
we'll
be
be spending it here.
Yeah, actually, that would be a fun one maybe for all three of us to. I know. I mean, Mike's got his. That's what his pumpkin beer was based off of. But it kind of would be fun if we decided to do maybe some type of Irish ales, and brought those onto the show.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like in St. Patrick's Days past, like we have reviewed a bunch of stuff, including some whiskey.
And that was a fun show. We had to do twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was great. Yeah, good times. So definitely want to do that. The dry Irish stout, Shaggy Tail Pale Ale. I am definitely going to do that Oktoberfest beer again that I did this year, because I really enjoyed that one. I do want to find. I know we did like we have the two Weissmen that we brewed together, like our Hefeweizen, and I tried to do that this summer, and that's the one that just went completely bad because the chiller broke. So I'm definitely going to try and give that one a shot again. But other than that, I think I'm going to try to do, like, I want to take the Shaggy recipe and try to, if I'm going to do 1 gallon batches, try to kind of play with the hops that are in that as well. So I'm going to keep the standard one. And then I want to do a couple different batches with some different hops, just to kind of see what I like. I mean, I like the way it is now, but I want to see if I could do something better. I liked it when we homebrewed it. And for the hoppiness, when we did it with Almond, I really loved how the hops came through there. So maybe it's just the way, I definitely attribute it to the way that they aerated the tanks, and like they kept those hops moving in that when they dry hopped. So I just want to kind of find a way to kind of play around with that as well. And I've never done a sour, so I'm definitely wanting to do a sour. I think that would be awesome. Just because I've never done one, and I'm leaning towards. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, as far as the sour is concerned, do you think that you would? Maybe you were about to just say what you were going to lean towards. Do you think it's something that you would do like kettle souring, or get like some, like pitch different yeast strains, like some lacto in there, and
I mean, if I do it more than once, I'd probably try a couple different things. But I definitely want to do like a cherry sour. Because isn't that what Mike did? Didn't he have a cherry?
Yeah.
That's the one that I really liked. So I don't want to use Mike's recipe. I just kind of want to try to, I'm going to play around with, the knowledge that I have and see if I can kind of pull something out. Yeah. Because cherry, I mean, I love cherry. And I think it's something, too, that my wife would like, so. Because she likes sours, too, and she likes cherries.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah.
It's always a good selling point when your spouse will drink what you're making.
Well, it was funny too, because when I did the Oktoberfest, a couple weeks after I had tapped it, she was having her team was doing a happy hour, and she's like, "Can I do the happy hour at the bar?" And I was like, "Sure." She's like, "Can I?" "Can I drink the Oktoberfest?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "She's like, I want to be at the bar, and if anybody asks me, she's like, I'm drinking a beer my husband brewed." So she got off the call, and I said, "Did anyone ask you?" She's like, "No." She's like, they didn't even notice the fact that like she was standing inside the bar, so she had the background where I got those pictures framed of like the old like brew sketches. Yeah, she had that behind her. She's like, "Yeah, nobody said anything."
Not observant, apparently.
Yeah.
She tried, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and then again too. So if things, if by the end of the summer, like we're in a position where we're comfortable enough to get, whenever we're comfortable enough to get together in the same spot again, I definitely want to do another variation of our stout, and I'd like to do it earlier, and let it sit longer.
Sure.
So like,
yeah, I'm
if
with
we
that.
did it,
I like
September,
that.
And then let it sit, have it sit for a month and a half or whatever, and then keg it, and then let it sit for another 2 weeks or so, because I'm really curious to see how this is going to taste after sitting for because I haven't touched it since I filled that growler or that bottle for you on Sunday.
Flipped up. So it's funny, because you and I were talking about maybe recording with that beer, and I had already gotten so far into the day that you're like, nah, you said you weren't feeling that great, so you don't want to drink anything, and I was like, well, it's kind of long into the day. This was before I decided I was going to drink a Death Star, but I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna drink our stout. I feel like it'd be wasted on me, and so I have a coworker who is very much into craft beer, and he knows that I brew, and I kept telling him I was going to bring him something, but I never really felt like, oh yeah, I want you to try this. So I messaged him that night after you said you weren't going to do it, and I said, hey, you want to try this stout I was telling you about? He's like, yeah, sure. So I brought him the bottle of it, and he's like, cool, I'm looking forward to trying this.
No, drink it now, right here at work.
It's 8 a.m., crack it. He actually has a Bourbon County at his desk. He texted me. I got to work a little late that day, and he texted me. He said, my dad and I just tried some of this. Holy shit, it's really good. I really like this. And it didn't feel like anything. It was like blowing smoke up my ass or anything, because we've talked about a lot of different beers and what we like and what we don't like. But like, he kept messaging me about it. Like, I didn't even reach out to him and say, hey, so what do you think? And like, oh yeah, it's good, thanks. And he didn't finish it that day. He actually put the top back on, went back to it the next night, let it warm up more, and he said it's just really awesome, and then had a whole bunch of questions about how the hell did we make something like that. Like, he seemed pretty impressed that the fact that, the guy who works in the warehouse and his random friend who hosts a show on the internet that could come up with something like that. So the one thing he did say about that beer that he kind of liked, because he thinks cinnamon can overpower a beer, was that the cinnamon was kind of muted. There wasn't a whole lot. So I do think even with the keg that we have now, we could even probably, if we were to maybe sanitize a cinnamon stick, if you depressurize that keg, pop it open and plop a stick in there, come February, that might be exactly perfect. But I'll leave that up to you, man.
One cinnamon stick will definitely. I do that with my pumpkin, and even just one cinnamon. That'll make a big difference if that's what you're looking for.
Me personally, I feel like I agreed with him. I feel like that was kind of missing, but I like the beer the way it is. That I don't feel like we have to change it on this one. But if we wanted to in the future, I would want to try that.
Well, I'd offer you my opinion, but I haven't gotten a sample yet, so.
Well, you can't taste anything yet, so.
Yeah, well.
Wasted on you.
We'll wait for February.
Great point.
We're not gonna.
We wasted a good surprise on you.
Yeah. Wow, this doesn't taste like anything. Really good job, guys.
You guys suck at what you do.
Yeah. Like, it's bubbly, but not really bubbly because it's a stout, so I don't know.
It's carbonated and kind of tastes burnt.
Yeah.
What is this rubbing alcohol?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, so kind of thinking about the sanitizing thing, I would, if I do the cinnamon stick thing, I think it'd probably be awesome to let it sit, like, just even if I did it overnight, put it in a thing of bourbon, let it sit in bourbon overnight and drop that in.
I'm not opposed to that idea. Just pour it in gently.
Oh, yeah. Do you just put the cinnamon stick in whole? Like, you don't put it in a screen or anything?
No, when we did what was the last Brewfest? Oh, Soul Survivor. Didn't Soul Survivor? Did we put?
I think we might have just dropped them in.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's when we brought the Soul Survivor to Mount Vernon. We did that because when I went to dump the keg, when it was emptied, two cinnamon sticks fell out, and I was like, oh, that's right. We put cinnamon sticks straight in it because we made a variant of it. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. Yeah, adding the cinnamon sticks to it's not like I said, it doesn't. If you were to put it in bourbon, I mean, if just because if you want to add the bourbon to it, that's fine. But I've literally taken cinnamon sticks before, had a little bit of the sanitizer solution. I just let it sit there for 5 minutes and then drop the cinnamon stick in.
Oh, so you drop it in like Star San and then drop it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But if you want to do the bourbon thing, feel free to add some more booze to this already hefty 10% beer.
Maybe I will. I'm going to see if I can get
Looking forward to it someday.
I'm going to look to see if I can get some good cinnamon. So,
what did you say?
Maybe
Clark?
some more of that Saigon cinnamon.
I said I'm looking forward to it someday. Someday, somehow. somewhere.
Ooh, who knows? Should we start?
I mean,
should
it's
we start a
probably
musical?
one of your houses or my house. It's not like going to be a big.
Probably, yeah,
surprise.
makes sense. Won't be on tap anytime soon. Or will it? I don't know. All right, well, yeah, guys, I think I'm looking forward to all the beers that we're planning on brewing this year. Brandon and I have officially made it through week 1 of dry January, and I will say this. On Thursday night, I came home.
I'm shaking a little bit less. Shaking a little bit less.
That's less. I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I really just want one beer right now. And she said, you do realize you're only 4 days into this. I'm like, I know. That doesn't change the fact. And it's not like I wanted a beer because, oh man, I need that sweet, sweet booze coursing through my veins. It's that I really do enjoy the taste of beer, and that's why I was kind of bummed about that Lagunitas IPNA. Is that it didn't really taste like beer to me. It tastes like hoppy water. So making the hop water this weekend was awesome. And who knows? Like I said, I'll probably make some more of that this year as well. I might even still try and do, that was on my list as well, a hard seltzer recipe. But I am reading that a lot of people are having a lot of issues getting it to ferment because you have to add yeast nutrients to it. And you have to have the right amount of everything because it's just water and sugar. And yeast needs a little bit more help with being able to break all that down into alcohol. But regardless, I am looking forward to all the beers we're going to try and brew. And I think having some more homebrew episodes will be a lot of fun for us to see, what we like, what we don't like. And, maybe we can... I know some other home brewers maybe we can reach out to. And that does not mean we're not going to be talking to some other breweries. Brandon and I already started planting some seeds, and Clark planted some seeds as well. And we'll feature some new breweries this year as well. So I'm excited for 2021, the start of our... Does this count as our third year, technically?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're into the third year. I mean...
This is the start of... year 2 of the Malting Hour, but year
we've been
3.
doing it since 2018 is when we started.
Yeah. So this is year 3. Year 3, and we added someone else to the show. So 3 years, 3 members. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a 4th person in 2022. Not on your life.
Oh, yeah. We'll fire Clark by the end of the year.
Yeah, I was about to say, we'll see how long I'm going to be.
I like those odds. Well, guys, thank you everybody for listening. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, looking forward to all the homebrew this year.
I will say, for those of you that have been listening, if you are looking for another way to catch the Malting Hour is now available on Pandora. You can now subscribe to us on Pandora. So, yeah, feel free to reach out to your Pandora app and reach in there and do the searching and look us up.
Yeah, reach out to your Pandora app and say, hey, can I hear the Malting Hour podcast? All right.
That puts us almost everywhere.
Brandon, we are almost everywhere at this point. This is nice. Brandon and Clark, I love you guys both. How's that for the starting of 2021, huh?
Right back at you.
Love you, man.
All right. Until next time. Bye.
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 This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us on social media platforms individually. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, on Untapped, BDub Drinks Beer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Asa Phelps Chicago, on Twitter, The Asa Phelps Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all 3. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.